We're all constantly looking for a bit of strength, a little bit of clarity. And usually we look out there, right? For a new place, a change of scenery. But what if the most powerful sanctuary you could ever find has been inside you this whole time? Let's dig into that idea.
So really, think about it for a second. When the pressure's really on, where do you go? Maybe it's a vacation, a long walk, or maybe you just, zone out in front of a screen. We all have that impulse, right? To find an escape, to find somewhere to recharge.
Well, get this. Nearly 2,000 years ago, a Roman emperor, Marcus Aurelius, he offered this pretty radical alternative. He basically argued that the ultimate retreat, it's not some physical place you go to. It's an internal state you can tap into at any moment. And honestly, this one idea, it's the key to everything we're about to get into.
Okay, so this brings us to a really foundational principle, that real, lasting strength, well, it's not something you're born with, and it's not something you just stumble upon. It's something you have to build. You have to forge it day by day, choice by choice. And nobody puts this more bluntly than former Navy SEAL Jocko Willink. I mean, look at this. This isn't just some catchy phrase, It's like a law of physics for your character. The inputs directly determine the output. There is no middle ground.
So this really breaks down the choice we all face every single day. You've got one path, comfort, avoiding the hard stuff, and the result, it just makes you softer. Then there's the other path, embracing the pressure, pushing through the difficulty. And that's what makes you tougher, more resilient.
And what's really fascinating is that this isn't just some modern warrior's creed, right? I mean, look at how this one idea just echoes across completely different worlds. You've got the legendary basketball coach Gino Auriemma, who sees it right there on the court. The Bible frames it as a spiritual gift, and the ancient Stoics, they defined it as the absolute core of virtue itself, making the rational choice to refuse to be ruled by fear.
So here's the crucial takeaway, right? True toughness is not about being fearless or never getting tired. Not at all. It's about feeling those things, the fear, the total exhaustion, and just refusing to hand them the keys. It's about deciding that you, not your feelings, are the one in charge of the next move. Okay, so how does all this talk about toughness circle back to our man Marcus Aurelius? Well, it all comes down to that inner retreat we talked about. This powerful truth that, for whatever reason, humanity has had to learn and relearn over and over again.
I mean, think about this guy. Marcus Aurelius was literally the most powerful man in the world, but his life was just relentless. He was dealing with constant war, a devastating plague, the loss of so many of his children. His journal, which we now call Meditations, it could have just been a long list of complaints, but it wasn't. Instead, it became his workshop, his gym, for building an inner fortress that nothing could breach. And you see the same piece of wisdom surface over and over. It's amazing. It goes from a Roman emperor's private journal to an American philosopher's call to just be fully present in your own life, all the way to a modern mindfulness teacher's simple, powerful reminder. Wherever you go, there you are. You just can't run from yourself. And look, if all that feels a little too philosophical, a little too high level, here's a super practical version from Gretchen Rubin. I love this. Can't find something? Like clarity? Then clean up. Just by creating order in your physical space, you're directly cultivating order in your own mind. See, the retreat isn't some cabin in the woods. It's a condition you create. But what about the ultimate test, right? What happens when the loss is so catastrophic, so truly unimaginable, that it feels like your inner world has been completely shattered right along with the outer one?
Okay, this is where the Stoic idea becomes truly, truly radical. It is absolutely not about ignoring your grief or pretending you're not devastated. Of course not. It's the recognition that even when you are facing the unimaginable, your inner self, your will, your ability to choose what you do next, that is the only solid ground you have left to stand on. It's the only place you can operate from. It's where you find the strength to just put one foot in front of the other. All right, so let's bring this into the modern world. How does this internal focus actually translate to things like leadership, building teams, and just getting stuff done? Well, it turns out it's the secret to both spotting real talent and building a strategy that actually works. So you have leaders like the tech investor Keith Rabois and the legendary NFL coach Joe Gibbs, and they both basically use pressure as a diagnostic tool. You want to find out what someone's really capable of? Keep giving them more responsibility until they hit their limit. You look for the person who jumps on the hard, messy problems that nobody else wants to touch. Why? Because character isn't something you find on a resume. It's what emerges when things get tough. And this connects perfectly to how we think about planning. Seth Godin makes this brilliant point that we often confuse a rigid procedure,
a checklist with a flexible strategy. A checklist is great, but it only works if the world holds perfectly still, which it never does, right? A strategy, on the other hand, is your method for navigating the uncertainty that you know is coming.
So how do you build a strategy that works? Simple. You start at the end. First, you identify the ultimate goal. Then you ask yourself, okay, what's the step right before that? And then the step before that one. You just keep working backward, step by step, until you land on a concrete action you can take right now, today. And just like that, a huge, daunting goal becomes a simple, manageable first step.
So as we bring all these different threads together, toughness, the inner retreat, spotting talent, building a strategy, there's this hidden theme that emerges. One thing that connects all of it. And that one thing is time.
And of course, Bruce Lee gives us the ultimate call to action here. All the philosophy, all the strategy, all the brilliant understanding in the world is totally, completely useless until it's translated into action. That gap, the space between knowing what to do and actually doing it, that's where potential goes to live or die.
So here it is. It all comes together, converging on one incredibly powerful idea. The retreat you're looking for? It's within you. The toughness you need? You build it. The strategy to get where you want to go? You work it backwards. Your real talent? It only shows up under pressure. And all of it, every single piece, points to one simple, unavoidable truth. The only time you have to do anything about it is right now.
And that brings us right back to the beginning, full circle. This choice, hard or soft, is right in front of you every single day, in 100 different ways, big and small. It is the most fundamental decision you get to make about the person you're becoming.
So the only question left is the one you've got to answer for yourself. And listen, it doesn't have to be some monumental, life-changing thing. It just has to be a conscious choice to lean into a challenge instead of backing away from it. So, what tough thing are you going to choose today?